Hello, it's Saturday night and I'm starting my challenge a bit early. Basically, I have one more book left on my March TBR, which is Jade Legacy, and I'm halfway through that. I ploughed on today, I finished Murder on the Orient Express, which was really good, and I got halfway through Jade Legacy, but it was just really heavy and I thought I need a break, I need to read something different. So I thought what I'll do is I'll start a book from my challenge of reading books that I haven't seen discussed on Booktube, and then that way if I don't finish it over the weekend, then I can bring that into next week and it still fit my theme. So the first book I'm picking up is Mistleton by Alison, Littlewood. I got this copy from Forbidden Planet. It's a signed copy. I think it was about £5 or £6, but it just really appealed to me as I was trawling through the website. So it says, Leah thought Maitland Farm could give her a new life, but now old ghosts are dragging her into the past. Following the tragic deaths of her husband and son, Leah is looking for a new life. Determined to bury her grief in hard work and desperate to escape Christmas and reminders of what she has lost, she rushes through the purchase of a run-down Yorkshire farmhouse, arriving just as the snow shrouds her new home. It might look like the loveliest Christmas card, but it's soon clear it's not just the house that needs renovation. The land is in bad heart too. As Leah sets to work, she begins to see visions of the farm's former occupants and of the dark secrets that lie at the heart of Maitland Farm. If Leah is to have a future, she must find a way to lay both her own past and theirs to rest, but the visions are becoming disturbingly real. So I've wanted to pick up a horror for a while now, and a Christmassy horror sounds right up my street. So I've not heard anyone discuss this. None of my friends have read it, so I am going to jump straight in. Hi, so it's 9:30 now. That blue light you see out there is just our moonlight, which we have on through the night in case you want to get up. Anyway, I've come out to bed because I've got an earlier start because we're both on an ambulance shift in the morning. And I've got to get up and spend a bit of time with Juki before we go. But it's only a short shift, only a few hours. And then we've got Mother's Day festivities after. So it'd be nice to catch up with the fam. But anyway, I've been reading Mistleton. I'm a few chapters into it now. And I think the word that I'm going to use is odd. I'm not disliking it, but I'm not overly liking it either. So we have Leah, who has bought this place in the country, and she's just like in the middle of nowhere. And obviously stuff goes on. Now it's a ghost book, so I don't think it's a big spoiler to tell you there's ghosts in it. But we've had the first ghostly experience now, and it was just odd. It was odd. But I like the descriptive writing of the author. I think her descriptions of the countryside and that are just perfect. Brilliant scene setting. We've been introduced now to a couple of other characters and they seem interesting. So yeah, I think the story itself is okay, but I think it's just I've not got to that meaty bit yet, so it's just a little bit too early to say, but so far it's fine. So obviously over the next couple of days I'm going to look at maybe start another book or two. But I really struggled with having a set TBR for March. So I'm not going to do that for this challenge. I am just going to mood read. I mean, you know, I say to myself, I'd like to get a couple of non-fiction read. I want to read a couple from NetGalley. I'd like to read a collection too of maybe poetry or stories, but I'm not imposing any rules on this. All I want is it just to be books that I don't see on Booktube often. So anyway, so far so good. But as I said, I'm going to bed now because I've got work in the morning. So, it's 5:30 on Monday, Can I help you? Can I help you? Can I help you? Is there something you want? Are you not getting my undivided attention for 2 minutes? Is that the problem? Is that the problem? Where was I? It's 5:30 Monday. I'm cooking dinner. I've got a load of washing on. I'm sure Google will go off in a minute to tell me to check the dinner. But anyway, I had a really good start to the day. I went to the gym, did a great session. I got a lot done at work. And then as of about 3 o'clock, the day sort of turned to poop. But we're going to put it back. We're going to have a nice dinner. We're going to have a glass of wine. And we're going to do some reading. So, I think I'm going to finish Mistleton tonight. I've got about 70 pages left. And I'm really mixed about this. So I'm enjoying it enough that I want to finish the story. And, you know, it's interesting enough. However, as a horror, nah, it's not. The ghosts sort of are more like replayed memories that Leah's watching. So yeah, so if you wanted a book with sort of like a bit of a creepy vibe that's not scary, this is great. It's a really interesting story. It's good. If you're looking for a proper full-on ghosty horror, which unfortunately I was, no. Which is a bit of a shame. But as I said, it's interesting enough, so it's fine. I think then I'm going to switch to a non-fiction dinner check. And I'm back with you. Anyway, non-fiction. How to lead your team and keep the right balance. This is a story about Tom the Magician and a leadership workbook. So this has been on my TBR for ages. It was a 10p buy in a charity shop, but it's got like, I don't know, diagrams and bullet points. So I don't think it's going to be a heavy read. It's a really short book anyway. It's only about 150 pages. So, but I've wanted to read it for ages. So I'm going to probably move on to that after Mistletoe. And then last night I did start The Opposite of Loneliness. The essays that I talked about in my last vlog. They were written by a girl who unfortunately has passed away. And I just thought if I read an essay or two a night, it could be quite interesting. And I did read one yesterday. I think it's going to be quite an emotional read. So that's it on the book front for now. I have a couple in mind to move on to after I've read these. But so far, I'm enjoying this challenge. Do you ever get the feeling you're being watched while you eat dinner? Oh, you're not even subtle anymore, are you? You are just not even subtle. I've just finished Mistletoe and solid 3 stars. It just got weird towards the end. Very weird. That's probably the best description of this book, to be honest. It was just weird. Weird with some ghosts thrown in. Trigger warnings for suicide, death of a child. Yeah. But they're not discussed in great detail, but enough detail. But anyway, let's move on to the next book. I have just finished this little book. And you know what? It was brilliant. It really was. I am going to take that to work after this challenge and suggest the guys read it. I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. I've read so many business management books and trawled through websites of how to be a great boss and that. And you know what? In this tiny little book, which I've just binged this evening, I have learnt so much. And I'm genuinely going to sit and work through all the exercises at the back of it at some point. Must read for anyone running their own company, I think. Would highly recommend. So I'm getting ready to go upstairs because Littlewood is very tired. And as am I, it's 9:30. So I'm getting my Kindle ready to take upstairs to read, or at least start, a book that I have got very kindly from NetGalley. And I'm going to go with 4 Aunties and a Wedding. Now, this is the second in the series after Dial A for Aunties, which was hilarious. Thank you, Alicia, so much for sending me that. It was really, really good. So I'm so excited to read this. So let me just read you what it says on Goodreads. It says, Medi Chan has been to countless weddings, but she never imagined how her own would turn out. Now the day has arrived and she can't wait to marry her college sweetheart Nathan. Instead of having Ma and her aunts cater to her wedding, Medi wants them to enjoy the day as guests. As a compromise, they find the perfect wedding vendors, a Chinese-Indonesian family-run company just like theirs. Maddie is hesitant at first, but she hits it off right away with the wedding photographer, Stephanie, who reminds Maddie of herself down to the unfortunately misspelled name. Maddie realises that is where their similarities end, however, when she overhears Stephanie talking about taking out a target. Horrified, Maddie can't believe Stephanie and her family aren't just like her own. They are the family, actual mafia, and they're using Maddie's wedding as a chance to conduct shady business. Her aunties and mother won't let Maddie's wedding ceremony become a murder scene over their dead bodies, and will do whatever it takes to save her special day, even if it means taking on the mafia. That sounds brilliant. I cannot wait to get into this. So I'm going to take my reading party upstairs, probably fall asleep a few chapters in because I am so tired. But I will catch up with you tomorrow or the next day and let you know how I'm getting on. Night, baby. Yes, the dog has got an armchair and his own bed and a duvet. I'm that kind of dog mum, I'm sorry. Well, as predicted, I've read one chapter and I'm really tired and I'm in bed, obviously, hence it being dark. But yeah, it was really good and I can't wait to keep going. But good night, everyone. It's now Tuesday morning, it's 8:45. I am in the office and I'm on my own today, apart from Duke, who's there. And yeah, I'm just going to crack on and get work done. I've got to stay here for a parcel, which could be delivered any time, but I only get half-hour notice, but that'll do. And yeah, I'm just going to crack on. So I'm going to go on Scrib today, because the guys normally have the radio on. I like listening to an audiobook. And I'm going to keep my theme going about books I don't see on Booktube, so I'll let you know what I decide to read. So these are the two that I'm considering. I listened to probably about 10-15 minutes of My Mess is a Bit of a Life earlier this year, and I've never heard of the other one, so they're only short. I mean, it's only 2 hours each on double speed, so I might give one, if not both of those, a go today. And this is the one I'm starting with. So looking it up on Goodreads, it's a non-fiction autobiography / memoir. When Georgia Pritchett found herself lost for words, a bit of a predicament for a comedy writer, she turned to a therapist who suggested she try writing down some of the things that worried her. But instead of a grocery list of concerns, Georgia wrote this book. A natural warm worry war, Georgia's life has been defined by her quirky anxiety. During childhood, she was agitated about the monsters under her bed. Were they comfy enough? Going into labour, she fretted about making a fuss. Sorry to interrupt, but the baby is coming out of my body, I said politely. Winning a prestigious award, she agonised over receiving free gifts after the ceremony. So, soul-bearing yet light-hearted, poignant yet written with a healthy dose of self-deprecation. Words this morning, it's early, okay? Delightfully offbeat, painfully honest, full of surprising wonders. It's good so far, I have to say. I mean, I'm only a few chapters in. The chapters are really, really short. They're like a couple of minutes long each, but so far it's quite interesting.
Brother Matthew was 4 years older than me, and we used to go to school together. We would catch the bus, or sometimes the tube, and walk the rest of the way hand in hand. I felt completely safe with him. As long as I held his hand and stayed on the pavement, I knew I would be alright. My brother was the cleverest person I knew. He knew all about articulated lorries. He knew the rude version of we had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun, and he could stick a licorice string up his nose and make it come out of his mouth.
I have just finished My Mess is a Bit of a Life. It was really sweet, actually. It was really good. Obviously it's emotional. Trigger warnings for death of a baby, but it was a really good insight into sort of mental health. Yeah, it was good. So I'm just gonna dive straight into You Were Eating an Orange, You Are Naked, and let's see what Goodreads says about that. Young translator living in Toronto frequently travels abroad to Hong Kong, often with his unnamed lover. In restaurants and hotel rooms, the couple begin telling folk tales to each other, perhaps as a way to fill the undefined space between them. Theirs is a comic and enigmatic relationship in which emotions are often muted and sometimes masked by verbal play and philosophical questions, and further complicated by the woman's frequent unexplained disappearances. It's an intimate novel of memory and longing that challenges Western tropes and Orientalism. Okay. Well, we'll give it a go. And you're helping, aren't you? Because we're again sharing some sausages in the office.
The ancient Chinese scholar Guo writes, "At the age of 50, a fox can transform into a person. At the age of 100, it has the choice to either metamorphose into a wizard. There's no way to escape it, unless you burn the city down from both ends. He never did. He never escaped Prague. You continue walking through the exhibition. Most of the exhibited items are Kafka's letters and documents. His insurance license, his request for sick leave, his application for a visa to go to Germany."
You know when you read or listen to a book and then as soon as you finish it, you're like, what on earth was that? That is exactly how I feel about You Were Eating an Orange, You Were Naked. It's a 2-star for me because I just didn't get it. It was very strange. I don't even know what to say about it. So, I'm going to round off part 1 now of the reading challenge vlog. I'm going to update you once or twice a week with how this challenge is going. Please let me know if you are reading any books yourselves that just aren't on Booktube, BookTok, etc. that are completely new to you. Just out of interest, I'd just like to know. And yeah, I'm deciding which book to read next. So I'm either going to go with the Emerald Circus, which is a short story collection, and it's got loads of different literary figures and authors and things like that. So it's got everyone from Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, Wendy from Peter Pan, Edgar Allan Poe's mentioned, Emily Dickinson's mentioned. I'm actually very excited by this. I think it's going to be very strange, and I like a bit strange. Or do I read this one, A Skin Full of Shadows by Frances Hardinger, which just sounds equally awesome, but it sounds a bit dark. 12-year-old Makepeace has learned to defend herself from ghosts that try to possess her in the night, desperate for refuge. One day, a dreadful event causes her to drop her guard. So that's going to be dark and weird, and I like a bit of dark and weird as well, so I don't know which of those to go with next. Maybe I'll get them both read this week. Who knows? But yeah, let me know, as I said, if you're participating in like this little reading challenge that I've set for myself. And let me know if you've read any of the books that I've read this week that have been quite new to me, or any of them appeal to you. And I'll catch up with you soon.